Last week, I posted a very important poll to Twitter. The question, who is the worst wife in America? And there were four options: Jill Biden, Meghan Markle, Jada Pinkett Smith, and Gisele Fetterman, the wife of Senator John Fetterman. Now, it proved to be a close contest, though one clear winner emerged at the end. Jada Pinkett Smith, G.I. Jane, as Chris Rock would call her, who has escorted her husband Will Smith through one public humiliation ritual after another, won the race with 32% of the vote. Close behind her was Meghan Markle, assuming her preferred position by riding someone else's coattails with 30%. And then First Lady and notorious elder abuser Jill Biden with 22%, followed finally by Gisele Fetterman with only 14% of the vote. But after the events of this past week, I must now call for Mike Pence to do the right thing and throw out these results. We need a new election, and I think Gisele Fetterman deserves to win this time. Now, Gisele earned the title before this past week. She earned it ever since her husband nearly died from a stroke during a political campaign. And she, rather than insisting that he leave the race and save his health in the process, instead helped to shuffle him along from one campaign stop to the next, where he humiliated himself with increasing regularity, only to eventually win the Senate seat because the Republicans managed to run someone who was less appealing to voters than an actual vegetable somehow. Fetterman would end up in the hospital almost immediately after being sworn in, and then again immediately after that. He was admitted over a week ago for his second stint and is still there, reportedly to receive treatment for depression. Now, I must say reportedly, because there's no reason to believe any of the details were given about Fetterman's health at this point. All we can say for sure is that the man is not well. That didn't stop Gisele, his loving wife, from going on vacation anyway. From the Daily Wire, here's the report. Senator John Fetterman's wife was slammed on social media Friday after she revealed that the first thing she did after her husband was hospitalized with severe depression was flee the country to go on vacation. Fetterman checked himself into a hospital last week for a multi-week inpatient treatment regimen after the attending physician of the United States Congress recommended that he do so. Gisele Fetterman, who lived illegally in the U.S. for more than a decade, said that she took the family to Canada for a vacation after leaving her husband in the hospital. NBC News reporter Dasha Burns said last week that senior aides to Fetterman have indicated that it's been difficult to distinguish the stroke from the depression, saying it's hard to tell at times if Fetterman is not hearing you or he is sort of crippled by his depression and social anxiety. Quote, a senior aide tells me both the staff and Fetterman himself were taken by surprise by the severe onset of depression. The aide also says that this hasn't compromised his ability to do the job going forward, and he'll be back to work once he's taken care of his mental health. So wait, just side note, you can't tell if he hears you when you speak to him, but that hasn't compromised his ability to do the job of a senator? Which actually might be true, but what does that tell you about the job of a senator? As for the details of Gisele's impromptu excursion out of the country while her husband languished in the hospital, she tweeted this, quote, I'm not really sure how to navigate this journey, but I'm figuring it out slowly. 1 week ago today, when the news dropped, the kids were off from school and the media trucks circled our home. I did the first thing I could think of, pack them up and in the car and drive. We drove straight into Canada. We talked lots about hard things and how we will all have to face hard things, about the need to be gentle with ourselves and with all. We did some scary things, but we did them together. We ziplined over Niagara Falls, and August got stuck. We talked about flexibility and the need to always have an open heart and an open mind. We also talked about how joy and fun can and must still exist, even when someone we love is in pain. And tomorrow, who knows? We'll try to do it all over again. Now, she also provides some pictures and videos from their jaunt to Niagara Falls. It should go without saying that a good and attentive wife does not leave the country on vacation while her husband is experiencing a catastrophic medical emergency. Now, we don't know whether John Fetterman is even fully conscious right now, but if he is, I can only imagine what it must have felt like when he called his wife from his hospital bed, expecting that she would sound distraught, only to hear laughter and commotion in the background. Like, oh, what's that, honey? Oh, we're going ziplining in Canada. It's so fun. Wish you could be here. Anyway, gotta go. Of course, it's not that a man in the hospital wants his wife to be miserable, but he does want her empathy. He wants her concern, her support, all of which seems to be lacking in Gisele's behavior. Of course, some people have tried to defend Gisele by insisting that, well, she was only trying to get away from the media spotlight. It was something that she did to protect her kids, they claim. That doesn't make any sense, given that Gisele has ruthlessly pursued the media spotlight, and she was willing to sacrifice her husband's health to get it. You can't push your barely cognizant husband over the finish line and into the Senate and then 5 seconds later claim that you wish to shield your family from public scrutiny, that would have been easily achieved if Fetterman dropped out of the race after he had his first stroke during the primaries. Remember, that first stroke was during the primaries. He could have easily just dropped out, and another Democrat would have been the nominee, and probably would have won the Senate. But now that he's a senator, now that you've made that decision to push him over the finish line, his health is a matter of national interest and importance. That's what she wanted, and now she has it. But even if we could justify the Niagara Falls tour on the basis that she was trying to avoid the news cameras, take her kids' minds off of everything in the process, that wouldn't explain why she needed to publish a string of tweets about the experience, complete with pictures and video. Gisele seems to have gone to the Meghan Markle school of protecting one's privacy. And even more to the point, it would not explain or justify what she says in the tweets and what she doesn't say. You'll notice that her husband's name isn't mentioned. She never expresses any concern about him. Instead, she talks about herself, her journey, her need for joy and fun. She has turned her husband's medical crisis into a personal journey of self-discovery. And in that way, and in several other ways, she is, the quintessential modern liberal woman. And I don't mean that as a compliment. It's actually appropriate that on the same day that Gisele published her tweet thread about her fun vacation, another tweet written by a different but equally vapid liberal woman went viral. This time it was Dr. Nicole LaPera. Is a psychologist and an expert in quote-unquote self-healing. LaPera has amassed an enormous online following with gems like the one she posted on Friday, which says this, quote, "Putting everyone else's needs before your own isn't selfless, it's self-abandonment. Society glorifies this, and it's a massive reason why so many of us are unwell." Yes, that's the problem with society, that it encourages people to be selfless. The solution to our cultural problem, therefore, says the psychologist, is to put greater emphasis on selfishness. Because that's the ingredient we're missing, obviously. Surely we've all noticed this. I mean, when you look around at society, the first thing you think is, wow, there really isn't enough selfishness out there. Now, this is totally backwards, of course. It may be theoretically possible to go too far in putting other people's needs in front of your own. Theoretically, that's possible, maybe. But that is not the direction that our culture pushes people. And if you're having trouble in your relationships, it is almost certainly not because you are too outwardly focused, too worried about helping others, too selfless. That may be the story that you tell yourself, but the story is almost always fiction. And it is a fiction grounded in your selfishness. Gisele Fetterman is a prime example of this phenomenon, and a very public example, because that's what she wanted to be. And that is why she is today, finally, canceled. And that'll do it for this portion of the show. As we move over to the members block. If you're not a member yet, you can become a member and use code Walsh at checkout for 2 months free on all annual plans. Hope to see you over there. If not, talk to you tomorrow. Godspeed.